afternoon and welcome back to the Olympia World Arena in Innsbruck. I'm Charlie Bosco, got Mike Langley alongside me, and last night we saw Janja Garnbret crowned Boulder World Champion in front of a packed house, becoming the first woman to win World Championships in 2 climbing disciplines. Today it is the turn of the men, 20 men in today's semi-final, looking to claim one of the 6 spots in the final, which will take place at 7 p.m. tonight. Just to let you know, there is a potential problem with the clock. We saw this at the start of the women's final yesterday. I do apologise, but we are hoping to get underway, if not bang on time, as close as possible to that. And Mike, we've just been down on the mats. We saw very, very hard boulders in the women's final last night, and it looks like we might have something similar in the men's semi today.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell, obviously, just in observation of the boulders, but I think the theme has been throughout this week really hard boulders, and I think it's going to continue here. Semi-final round, traditionally the hardest round of the tour. Having said that, women's boulder final last night was an absolute battle royale from the very beginning. A lot of skin lost, a lot of bruised egos out there, not many zones, not many tops, that's for sure. And I think it might continue here today. A really good spread of boulders, though. Soon enough we'll be able to have a look at the wall once again, but this is the warm-up wall, which is just behind the main stage. Had a quick pop round there this morning to have a see what the facilities were like. Pretty impressive. As you can see, though, it does seem to be pretty hot behind there. Just as I say that, someone's well worn up in a down jacket.
Hopefully Manu Corner's warm enough there in this hot, sweaty arena in his down jacket. He's going for the old boxing theory of sweating it out. There's Adam Ondra. Climbed very late in the qualifying round. We live streamed the qualifying round, and Adam came out 56th in his group because he didn't have a current Boulder World Cup ranking. There's Yoshiyuki Ogata, a man I've been saying to watch for quite some time now. The results coming thick and fast for him in bouldering and lead, and increasingly in speed. Also an all-rounder there, Mikael Marwem, brother of Basser, who picked up a silver medal in the speed climbing earlier on in the week. And Mikael, one of France's brightest hopes in the all-round competition. Then we can see the Olympia World Arena, treated to a very tense and tight show last night, which exploded into life towards the end. Saw Janja Garnbret with a display of emotion, the like of which I've never seen from her, who will be celebrating tonight. Here is our bouldering wall, 4.5 meters high and 18 meters wide. By the standards of World Cup bouldering walls, not especially steep. We start on the right with the slab, 3 degrees off vertical. It's only just a slab. And then slightly steeper, 13 degrees. The main bulk of the wall is 20 degrees overhanging. There's just that steepest section on the bottom, 35 degrees overhanging. The wall sticks out. Sticks to what you know.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, 2.15 meters. So this looks very promising for getting underway. Our clock, I can see, and now you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, has got 45 seconds to go, and I really hope that means we're going to see Florian Klingler of Austria, the 20-year-old, making his first semi-final appearance in any senior IFSC competition. Taking part in 7 World Cups this year across bouldering and lead, but yet to find a semi-final. He does so today here in Innsbruck.
Just looking at that start list, a couple of very big names coming out early, including Jakob Schubert, Jan Hoyer just slightly further down, so it's going to be really interesting this semi-final. Traditionally we see the stronger climbers coming out last, but I think qualifying result, Jakob Schubert just squeezing in. He's actually on an appeal that he ended up into the semi-final round by the skin of his teeth, and I think he's going to be out for a bit of blood here today. He wants to improve on that position, coming out in 19th. He's going to be looking for another final here.
Here is Florian Klingler climbing in front of his home crowd. It's an immensely strong semi-final lineup here. Florian, one of the few kind of young up-and-comers who's not really got any pressure on him and can just enjoy it. If you look down the list, the vast majority of this field will feel that they're more than capable of making a final on most days.
Note of interest on this right-hand side, then the competition does go from right to left. See 4 stripes of tape on the higher red volume, but the 2 volumes below are all touching, so it does count as 1 hold. So shouldn't be so much confusion with there, because there's absolutely no way you could start with 4 points. But interestingly, jumps
now
on.
That didn't look a legal start.
He's
got to control the starting handholds.
Yeah, will be a legal start if he can reach down and just control that position. That's not what the route setters intended, but because the tape has to be moved, they actually moved the tape onto that left-hand volume this morning, so he's actually managed to skip the first move there already. So route setters actually have a bit of an issue with the taping this morning. Judges weren't happy with it, so they did move that tape to the left-hand end.
Yeah, you can
does
see
get called down.
He's been called down. You have to control the starting handholds. That's the key. So obviously, as I said at the time, he hadn't made a legal start. It seemed as if he then remembered the rule and rolled back down, but didn't touch the starting holds for long. He just dabbed it with his right hand, and he has to actually control it. So confusion already. As soon as we walked on the stage, it's a bit of a funny looking start, but remember, if the holds are touching each other, they can be counted as one. So although all of 4 bits of tape, as Mike said, are on the left-hand triangular volume, that right-hand triangular volume and the separate volume that's bolted on top of that are all part of the starting holds.
Interestingly, Charlie, that tape was different this morning when I walked into the arena. There was 1 stripe of tape on the left and there was 3 on the bigger right-hand lower volume. Judges asked them to move it because everything is touching, and there's potential for a little bit of an upset there, potentially a technical appeal, because on these slab moves, control when there isn't really a hold is a really tricky one to judge. It does jump back on this time. He jumps on this time and does just touch down. He touches down with the right hand. Will that be good enough for the judges?
1 or 2 issues still with the clock, apparently. It's working fine in the arena, but we don't have the feed to it to our pictures. So I'll keep you informed. He's got 2 minutes 25 of his 5 minutes remaining. Now he's up to the zone. This is a good start from Florian Klingler. I'm pretty sure the judges will give him that zone. Yeah, interesting start. As I say, when you're on the mats, as Mike Langley and I were 20 minutes ago, it's a strange looking start. And Florian instantly causing the judges 1 or 2 problems when he jumped on and then tried to roll across to register an official start.
But what's interesting about that start, so he definitely controlled the lower left hand, but there was a touch with the right hand. If you can touch 1 hand, why can't you touch 2? Let's get the judging book out for this one. Maybe someone can give us a very in-depth insight.
Also, just to let you know in advance, the top holds, both of those holds are considered the top. If Florian gets that far, we'll have a good look at them, but at some stage today, you'd imagine we'll see someone topping this boulder, and the 2 top holds are counted as 1, so you don't have to go with both hands over to the left-hand one, which has got the tape on.
Jumps on again. There's the control of the left hand, and he does just touch with the right hand.
Florian
confused already,
causing the judges all sorts of problems. What constitutes control? Well, they seem happy with it. No one's run on as he did earlier on to tell him he'd done something wrong. Once again gets to the zone,
controls the balance point much better that time. Just to say that he does fall off, he just flagged the left foot out, and that just straightened up the body a little bit, got himself into balance. Let's have another look. Tricky little step for on these dual texture footholds. Just 3 degrees slabby, minus 3 degrees off vertical. Seems like you might just better walk up on these holes, but it's just barely a slab. Half decent footholds actually for these competitors anyway.
So there we see. Yeah, okay. Well, the judges seem happy. I hope it isn't an ongoing theme. We don't want results decided by a judge and then a panel of judges deciding what constitutes control. So hopefully we don't have too many issues with this start. Here we go. Heading for the top hold, and there you can see those top 2 yellow holds. His time is up. Out comes the second and final Austrian appearing in today's semi-final. It is Jakob Schubert. He was crowned lead world champion here in the Olympia World in front of his home city crowd last weekend.
You could just see there, he went up to the far right-hand side with his left hand. There's actually 2 holds inside that sort of half hexagonal shape up there. So imagine it would be going up to that left hand to the left-hand side, right hand to the right-hand side.
As ever in the semi-finals, the climbers are on a 5-minute rotation, so they have 5 minutes to attempt boulder 1. They then go backstage for 5 minutes, then attempt boulder 2, and so on and so forth until they have done number 4. So Jakob, the second climber out, when he's done, we'll have Billy Rydell of Great Britain, and then Florian Klingler, who we've just seen, will then go on to boulder 2.
Jakob into the conventional starting position there. That's how the route setters intended it. It's quite a hard stand up from this point. Does really well with the right toe hook down low. Just use that to lever his weight up and right. This is the climber's worst nightmare, coming out to a really bouncy slab full of nerves. First boulder in the World Championship semi-final.
Yeah, the route setters play in with the climbers a lot. After you warm up, when you've heard the crowd cheering, you know you're about to take part in a World Championship semi-final. You just want to come out and pull some holds off the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
And as it is, you've got to
rip it up.
Control that heart rate and creep slowly rightwards across the slab. I have to say this boulder looks pretty toppable. I think it will see quite a few tops, and Jakob Schubert, with 3 minutes 15 left on the clock, is making a pretty good fist of this. You can see the 2 top holds there. They are counted as 1. So you don't have to match the left-hand one, which currently has a yellow tape coming off it. You can use both.
Desperate slab climbing here. You can see the legs and the feet quivering. It's so close to the top there from Schubert. That step through with the feet is really tenuous, really quite difficult to watch. Just as you step through here, we have another look. You've got to be really careful not to knock your right foot off as you bring your left foot through.
And they're dual texture, those holes. Only the little lighter coloured nubbin on the end has got any friction. The bit closest to the wall, the brighter red bit, has essentially nothing. You can see Jakob. I think if you can get that right foot solid and get the timing correct, that certainly looks at a workable method. He got a left hand firmly onto the top hole, just couldn't quite bring the right up as well.
You can see he's just whipped the heels off his feet, off his shoes there, just to try and cool the feet down a little bit. So it's quite hot in here. These sorts of slab moves, you talk about chalking up your hands to reduce the sweat, to reduce the movement in your hands, but sometimes if your feet are sweating, they can move around in your shoe a little bit. That really doesn't help. I remember once on a boulder outside, I put liquid chalk on my feet inside my shoe just to try and stop the sweat on the feet, just to stop them moving around on the slab. Science friction in font for all the die-hard slab climbers out there. Chalking up the feet, not the shoes.
Good name drop there, Mike, like that.
If anyone's done it, you'll know why I mention it. It's actually a classic.
David Beckham always tells me not to name drop though, so I just I don't stoop to such levels. 1 minute 30 left on the clock now for Jakob. Older you get, the better you were.
Just watch this right foot for Jakob as he stands up. He really pulls on the side of that lower right-hand volume to get him across.
Yeah, only made it into this semi-final, as Mike alluded to earlier, after an appeal. Reasonably late on in the day as well. We'd actually put our highlights package together for the day, saying, oh, now Jakob missed out, and then had to redo it and say he'd made it in. It was an appeal about Vladimir Timonov being awarded a zone erroneously. Jakob reinstated into the top 10 in his group and therefore into the semi-final.
Jakob Schubert running quite short on time here.
Yeah, once he gets himself stood up here though, this should be enough time. Just jimmy the left through without bumping the right off, and then will he just... I was wondering if he might instantly dab up with the right and jump. 20 seconds to go.
Those boulders, you just can't rush. There's no quick way of climbing that boulder. Jakob Schubert bitterly disappointed with that, as you would expect. So much microscopic movement in the feet there. It's so hard to step through.
Billy Rydell of Team GB now. Florian Klingler makes his way onto boulder 2. Again, this is a boulder you would think would see some tops. Our reading of it from the mats, which obviously doesn't involve us trying the boulder and really understanding the micro movements, but chatting to the route setters and studying the boulders, Mike and I both felt that these first two would probably see more tops than the second two boulders. It's not proved to be the case so far from Jakob and Florian on number 1.
Billy Rydell from Great Britain is traditionally quite good on the slabs. Has won a couple of competitions based on his slab climbing ability. Let's see what he makes of this. He did really well on the qualifying men's number 1 back in the week on a slab climb. Didn't see too many tops that boulder. Billy got it done though. Helped contribute to his placing here in the semi-final.
You almost feel bad for speaking, but the crowd are making plenty of noise. As Billy Rydell creeps over to the right, Florian Klingler just had a lunge for the top hold on number 2. So progress being made there.
This was his successful attempt at the first move.
Yeah, this is a replay here of Florian Klingler. This boulder again definitely looks toppable, and this was him getting not too far off on that top hold. You're going for a yellow screw on a black triangular volume, and the screw on is okay. I would say it's not a great hold, not terrible, but you'll need to be really accurate with it. Body position needs to be good as well.
There was a debate down the front whether you could hold it with one hand or you could jump with two. His rider's back up on the slab.
Yeah, it was interesting. We were chatting to Alex Kazanov down the front of the wall, and it's quite surprising how much he can't read of the boulders. You kind of think Alex Kazanov, World Cup winner, he'd be able to say, oh, I'd do this move that way. And he was saying, yeah, I don't know. I wonder if you could do it with one hand. I wonder if you could do it with two. Until you got on the boulder, you basically are just guessing, even if you're a World Cup winning climber like Alex. This is Billy shooting out to the zone.
Yeah, not quite found the balance point on that move at the moment. Struggling to stay close to the wall.
Florian Klingler with 2 minutes 20 now remaining. Can see that top hold. There's also a tiny foothold there you can see by his left knee, which he's going to use. Some of the taller climbers may be able to go without it, and he definitely felt like he needed both hands there, it would seem. Went with one the first time, went with two this time.
Yeah, it's quite a cool move, this really high feet, making the jump. Quite easy to get the height, but not easy to stay close to the wall.
Let's have a look. This is a good angle for his body position. He was moving away from the wall by the time his hands landed. Hard to recover it from there.
Gives you a bit of an insight of that top hold. It's not brilliant.
See, I wonder if launching from the big blue volume rather than using that tiny screw on for Florian might mean you're in a bit of a better position when you arrive. It makes the jump much further, of course, but it doesn't seem like he's struggling with the distance.
Yeah, I think we might see both techniques used today, depending on how comfortable people are in that position. Especially the taller climbers might find that high foot really high. They might be better off just jumping off the lower volume. Long way to go in this semi-final to see all of the athletes, though.
So he's got that move sorted, Florian. Now, will he? I think he's going to go for the high foot again. Goes with two hands and latches in. First top of this semi-final goes to Florian Klingler. First climber out, tops number 2.
Nicely done. It took him a number of attempts to get the top move just right. Let's have another look. Easily through that bottom section, really. I thought that move might be a bit harder. Doubles up really nicely. Left hand clamped on top of the right hand. We've seen that a number of times this week already. Bad finish hole, but to stack the hands on top of each other, that's not going anywhere. Index fingers just crushed over each other. That's one way of making sure you don't fall off. Full extension in the end, though, when he hit it as a half crimp on the left hand.
Billy Rydell's now got 15 seconds to find something on number 1. He's already had the zone. I think time's going to be the issue here. You just can't move quickly on this sort of slab. And that is frustrating for him. Sergei Topishko now gets his World Championship semi-final underway. Jakob Schubert heads out onto number 2, which is compatriot Florian Klingler, just topped.
Sergei Kotvishko. You can see him in comparison to Jakob Schubert there, one of the bigger athletes.
So another starting method again on men's number 1.
This is where Jakob matched feet on the right-hand volume and used his right foot to toe hook down the side. So Sergei might be working his way in that direction. Schubert, just a close-up there, completely missed the shoulder on his way through.
It's a good close-up there. You get an idea of how poor these tiny red holds are. Big cheer for the crowd there. That was Jakob Schubert getting up to the zone on number 2. And Jakob Schubert as top number 2. Very, very early days. This is a replay of Jakob. Very early days, of course. We've only seen 2 climbers on it, but it already looks like you're going to need number 2 if you want to progress to the final.
Yeah, I think a really quick top on number 2 is going to be needed here as well. Obviously, Jakob's an incredible athlete. His trophy cabinet is bigger than most, but he sort of found that quite easy, I think. I think it was second go in the end for Schubert.
There it is. Slightly different method of landing the final hold. Hands right next to each other. Yeah, it was second go, Mike. Just comparing notes on that boulder. Extra rest comes in very handy in a semi-final in a way that it doesn't in a final. You inevitably get a pretty decent rest with 6 climbers in the final, but in a semi-final when you've only got 5 minutes, that extra 3 could be very welcome. Although Jakob won't have burned too many calories just yet. The slab not taking that much out of you physically, and then he got that second boulder done on his second go. Yeah, his Fitbit won't have been working overtime so far in the semi-final. Is that what it's called?
Not got his 10,000 steps in.
Exactly. Yeah. Looked like he's carrying a bit of timber, so.
Desperate thumb catch there to push across the right-hand side of the slab.
I have to say, I thought we might see an early, quite quick top on this men's 1. Climber's not struggling as it stands to get up to the zone.
Yes,
that's a handhold.
Apparently.
Vaguely resembling a handhold. It's like a handhold but smaller. 20 left for Sergei Topishko. Nimrod Marcus will be next out. Looking forward to seeing how he gets on. Help me out. Commentating in VLAR in the lead at the start of July. See him on the wall now. So Sergei, 1 minute to go. That handhold already becoming less easy to spot against the wall. It's so covered in chalk. Got the left hand in place. Creeping out towards the zone. Actually not being awarded the zone according to our scores just yet, Sergei Topishko. Just to let you know, the clock on our screen is about 3 or 4 seconds ahead of the venue clock. So it's roughly right, but if it was touch and go time-wise for a climber, we're just behind.
If it's touch and go, we'll go
ahead,
by the beeps in the venue, I think. I'm sure when that resets on the next rotation, that'll be squared away. No top again. Just querying the bonus potentially there, zone hold, excuse me.
Yeah, it looked to me like Sergei had got the zone, but I think he's arguing his point, not on that attempt, but I think it was the last attempt, certainly looked very solid. And then we see very, very early, of course, Jakob Schubert, top of the rankings. 1 top, 2 zones, 1 attempt for his top and 3 attempts for his zones. Here is Nimrod Marcus. saw a couple of his compatriots. I already mentioned, saw Alex Kazanov down the front. Yuval Shemler was there as well, the two of them going through the boulders. It's Nimrod who's competing. World Championship semi-final. Yeah, and Sergei Tapishko, just so you know, not been awarded the zone. He certainly didn't agree with that decision. Nimrod Marcus will be awarded it, and this is his first go.
Looking so solid here, Nimrod. Absolutely no movement in feet at all. Just come up shy on the finish holds.
That's quite surprising. He looked so solid, ready to launch, and they're not bad by the standards of World Cup semi-finals, the holds you're going for.
Yeah, he just looked a tiny bit stretched on the finish hold there. Sure, with another attempt, he will get that done.
That's certainly the closest anyone's looked to me on that boulder.
Yeah, he's like he's standing on a different set of footholds to the first few competitors. Billy Rydell on men's number 2's not quite found the double press method yet. Flying out the left hand to the big volume, shoulder holding the right hand hold.
Here's Florian Klingler.
Billy sticks it this time. Slightly different method, jumped up to it with his left hand. Florian Klingler, first climber we've seen on men's number 3. Big release move up to the zone now.
No problem for Florian Klingler. Could we see a top on number 3? He's got himself in position. Just needs to be totally happy with the foothold. And he got a very solid hand on that top hold, but remember, you need to match both hands and control it. But he won't get much closer without bringing it home. Top for Nimrod Marcus on number 1, first top of the day. On number 1.
See that over rotation on the top hold there for Florian Klingler. Just got to stop the rotation really. Tried to flip down to the left hand. This is the replay. Men's number 1. Nimrod, so solid on his first go. I'm going to say I'd be surprised if he didn't find a top. The first top is in the bag. This last move this time. Arms a little bit more bent that time.
I think his first attempt showed us that you've got to be really accurate up to that top hold. At first glance, it looks like as long as you get there, you'll be okay, but those holds clearly not quite as easy to hold as they first appear.
Well, I think Florian's attempt on men's number 3 has also shown us that all 3 of these boulders to begin with are very doable. I think attempts are going to be crucial here.
Top on number 2 for Billy Rydell. As I said at the top of the broadcast yesterday, we saw a very, very hard women's final, and we thought we might see something similar in the men's semi-final, but the tops are coming thick and fast now. As Mike says, it could come down to attempts. Florian Klingler's got a good right hand again on number 3, but he couldn't find a way of releasing the left and staying in control.
Yeah, exactly that. The top right hand yellow volume is so sideways that you need something to control it with the left. And there's a little fun catch on that yellow hold that he's on. Watch this, when he jumps, he just tries to flip the left hand. Just there to try and control it, but it's such a bad hold. Let's have another look from a slightly higher angle. Just tries to flip to try and stop the rotation. Can't quite manage it. Really cool finishing move.
So he's alone on the stage now with 40-odd seconds to go. Again, our clock ever so slightly ahead of the venue clock. But this is likely to be his last attempt, whichever clock you're looking at. No problem across to the zone. There is the final hold. Go with the right hand first, and again tries that little swap with the left hand. Can't quite make it work.
Every time that he's tried that move so far, you can see that he's tried to hold it with just the one arm and then flips just as he's falling off as a kind of second best option. See what he's up against there as the finish hold. Didn't get to see the left hand on that replay, unfortunately.
Jakob Schubert now makes his way out to number 3. Sergei Tapishko's on number 2, and Jan Hoyer getting his World Championship semi-final underway on number 1. Not traditionally the world's strongest slab climber, Jan Hoyer, but he's worked on it a lot. And if it is still a weakness, it's not a glaring one. He could certainly top this boulder.
Going back to the very start of the season at the Climbing Works International Festival, Jan Hoyer missed out on a place on the finals there. Boulder number 1 was a slab as well. So hopefully he's not got too many bad memories from that day. Crimping the back of the volume there on the left hand and the right hand. But the towel just tangled in his feet a little bit as well. Interestingly, on his Instagram, Jan Hoyer, you could see from the qualification round that he actually got blood blisters underneath his fingernails from crimping the backs of some volumes in the qualifying round. Desperate method required sometimes in climbing competitions, just get the fingernails down the back. Sergei Tapishko, one of the bigger climbers into this men's number 2. Lots of tops on this so far. Slight hesitation there. What I say is one of the bigger climbers, not sure where to go with the feet, off the high foot or from the lower foot. His left foot high. Lining it up.
Couldn't figure out what to do with his right hand. It looked like he was thinking about palming off, but you can't really get anything. If you try and palm like that, you can't get any explosion off it at all.
It's live again with Jakob Schubert now. Nice little toe catch release here off the left foot. Big, powerful jump out.
And it looked like he'd stopped that.
I'd say Florian Klinger's looking really strong here today. He looked savagely strong on men's number 3. Jan Hoyer's doing it pretty good in the background, just to say that it does fire off.
That was a replay of Jakob.
Yeah, Jakob went with the one hand there. Florian Klinger, we saw doubling to it.
Jakob employing 2 brushes and getting a 3rd brush for himself as well. Sergei Tapishko is close on number 2. Be the first climber who hadn't topped it if he wasn't to get it done.
Yeah, we've seen 2 methods on the start of men's number 2 now. The sort of Gaston right hand palm down on the left, or just jump up with your left hand and stab the left foot out. Both methods seem to be working equally as well.
Close on the top hold as well with Sergei. His left hand was actually a bit too far left, and the absolute sweet spot of the hold was actually unoccupied by either hand. So minor tweak to his accuracy, and I think he can top that boulder for sure. He's the 4th climber to attempt it. The previous 3 have all topped it. Jakob Schubert now, remember, he doesn't need to control the starting footholds. He can just dab them. He only has to control the starting handhold. So if you can see him just slap his left foot behind him and then get on with the boulder, that's why. This time he sticks the move up to the zone. Could we see a first top on men's 3? Oh, Jakob Schubert, once that right hand landed, the crowd began to cheer. His home crowd, no way he was letting go of that. Sergei Tapishko is just top number 2 as well. So everyone's done that boulder so far. This is a replay of Jakob. Right hand landed. And it was like an alligator's jaws shutting around that hold. It was not letting go.
Yeah, he had the vice crimp on there a couple of times.
This is a replay of Sergei.
Jakob was so strong on that. He just crimped the living daylights out the back of that yellow zone hold. And then again on the top hold, didn't need to flip the left hand that we saw Florian Klingler trying earlier. Jakob Schubert putting himself in a good early position here. Didn't manage to get number 1 done. And we did say at the top of the programme, Charlie, that a couple of really strong climbers coming out early could start to throw the results all over the place here and keep us guessing in the commentary box as to how many tops you're going to need to get through to the final. But so far, bowls 1, 2 and 3 look very doable to me.
Yeah, I think certainly 3 tops. Certainly. It would appear you're going to need. Let's see. It's fun to speculate, but unlikely to be accurate.
Jan Hoyer just with 10 seconds left here. Definitely not finding his party piece on the slabs, unfortunately. Unless he can pull something very special out in the next. He has actually got 8 seconds left, not 1 second.
Well, he's got the zone though. That shift in emphasis where zones are much more important than the old bonuses used to be. Especially with 3 boulders coming up that you might think would traditionally be more his style. That zone might be crucial. There you can see Jakob Schubert, 2 tops for him and a zone on every boulder. Couldn't get number 1 done. Nimrod Marcus, in his first senior semi-final at an IFSC competition, stormed out of the blocks, top on number 1. He's now on to number 2. Manuel Cornu the great entertainer, is climbing. He's on number 1. Not treated us to one of his haircut specials this time. We've seen the leopard print. We've seen all sorts from him. Keep it pretty traditional this time. As I always say, you better be good if you're going to have a haircut like that. He obviously wants to go under the radar, at least for the semi-finals.
Yeah, his season has been a bit mixed this year, to be fair. He's a great entertainer. I saw him in the finals of Bouldering at the start of the year back in April. Always the showman. Leaves nothing behind.
Here he goes, creepy across number 1. Now then, where will he try and launch from? There's no way he can go from there, so he's going to have to do a bit of jimmying around with the feet before he's in a position to go for it. There's 3:40 left on the official clock, 30 left on our clock. Manuel Cornu, no problem, left hand landed just before the right. Very quick top for him.
Very quick top for him. He followed Jan Hoyer, so he's going to be particularly disappointed when he sees Manu Cornu coming back into the isolation zone a minute or so after he left. It's an interesting little foot sequence there. Manu Cornu opted to step through in a completely different way to other athletes have. Hopefully we get to focus on that foot move a little bit later on as well, because it is quite interesting.
This was Nimrod Marcus coming close on number 2. That was a replay. He's back down on the mats right now, giving the brusher some very specific instructions about what he wants. Florian Klingler's on number 4, and this is another interesting boulder. And it looks like he's read the sequence perfectly. Are we about to see a top of Boulder 4? Florian Klingler needs to match that top hold, and does so. Didn't match it for long.
That was a very risky little quick match up there, but I think they'll give it to him. Surely they'll give it to him. And his method up there was awesome. Another little double flick move where he fires out to the left hand. Lots of sideways finish holds here. You can see as he gets that top hold, flips the right hand back down to where the left hand currently is. A really cool timing move here. 1, 2, and then controls the finish hold. Florian Klingler's on an absolute flyer here.
Nimrod Marcus, not a million miles off on his last attempt on number 2. Let's have another look. So he had another launch for the top, tried to go one-handed. I definitely think 2's the way to go, but it just depends if you can get yourself in a body position where you can feel you can go up with 2.
It's been a great show so far. We've had all the boulders topped and only 7 climbers out so far out of 20. Now either they're on a different planet to everybody else, or this is going to come down to the wire in terms of the number of attempts onto the boulders.
Well, the climbers do come in reverse order for how they qualified, so the theory goes that we get the stronger climbers later on in the semi-final. So our prediction that we are in for another very, very tough round with tops few and far between, so far proving to be absolutely miles off. Remember, of course, the route setters don't know either. It is a complete unknown until you unleash 20 of the world's best climbers on these boulders. We're all guessing, including the route setters. 1 minute to go for Nimrod Marcus. I don't fancy his chances of doing that with the one hand.
Interestingly though, talking to some of the athletes, someone like Jakob Schubert might have seen himself coming out 19th, before actually that's a pretty good time to come out. He's coming out with the conditions are possibly in the best that they'll be. Nice and cool, the holds are cool, the chalk build-up's not so heavy. He's got nothing to lose if he comes out that early on. Isolation time's really reduced. You're in there for a short amount of time as possible. You can just go out and absolutely let it rip and see what happens.
Yeah, and of course, if you do make the final, you could be done an hour and a half before some of the people who are joining you.
Yeah.
So
definitely a lot of advantages to coming out early.
Yeah, for sure. Billy choosing not with 30 seconds to go to have any further attempts. Ditto Nimrod Marcus, so the stage will be empty for about 20 seconds. Yeah, boulders certainly are going to get a lot of tops. And you can see it, Florian Klingler with 2 tops for him. He got all 4 zones as well. He's finished his rotation. Jakob Schubert hasn't quite finished. He'll be climbing on number 4 next. First chance for us to have a look at Keita Watabe. Jan Hoyer's climbing again on number 2. Needs to find something here. Jan Hoyer couldn't find a top on number 1. Did get the zone though, and that could be crucial. 3 tops, 4 zones. The best he can hope for from here, Jan. Could well be enough. Sergei Tapishko's climbing as well. He's on number 3. 3, top number 2 on his 4th attempt.
It's really interesting watching the athletes reading boulder number 4. There's quite a long discussion about all the different methods potentially possible on this one. Florian Klinger had it absolutely perfect straight off the bat. Terrible sloper for the right hand. Jakub opting for the high right heel. Looks like he's going to be going leftwards. We saw Florian Klinger going up to the left with his foot.
Oh, you can't help but wince when he goes out like that, Jakub. You can just see how much force is going through his shoulders. Not lacking in strength, but it's still an immensely powerful position to hang on to.
Yeah, that method was the method that one or two of us thought would be the way. It's not how Florian Klinger did it, so let's see if Jakub rethinks as Jan Hoyer's looking good on men's number 2. Goes one hand, nearly sticks it.
Yeah, I still think going with both is the way to go, but that was pretty close from Jan. I think it can be done that way. It just certainly looks a bit easier to go with both if you can manufacture the body position. Keita Watabe now, closest to the camera. 8th climber to attempt number 1. It's been topped twice by Nimrod Marcus and Manuel Cornu. Jakub Schubert's getting underway on number 4 as well. We're sticking with Keita for now. Both climbers at relatively similar positions on the wall. Jakub Schubert has top number 4. Keita Watabe is top number 1. Jan Hoyer's lining it up on number 2, and he's close, went with both hands that time. This is Keita. When this boulder gets done, it doesn't look too difficult. It's the last move looks pretty steady if you get your timing right. It looks as if that left hand, just a split second before the right, is the way to go.
Let's have a look at Jakub Schubert then on men's number 4. Completely different method to Florian Klinger. This is one of the methods that we discussed down the front. It looks hideously hard on the left shoulder. What he managed to do is completely miss the top move. Florian Klinger had his left foot over there, pushed over to this next hold with his left hand, not his right hand, but it does mean that Jakub Schubert can control this position and go straight to the finish hold from there. Another method available here. Jakub Schubert, 3 tops.
So 3 tops, 4 zones for Jakub Schubert. Will somebody find 4? It certainly looks possible that we'll see 4 tops today, but 3 tops, 4 zones. Pretty handy score.
Great entertainment so far with so many tops. Roussettes might be getting a tad nervous. Definitely going to come down to attempts.
Well, we've definitely seen over the past couple of days, they know how to set hard boulders. So if they crank the level of difficulty up slightly for the final, that would be understandable. Top there for Jan Hoyer. That was a replay, by the way. He's already backstage. He's got a little more extra rest than you might think.
Yeah, that time when he jumped to it, he had been going just with the one hand before struggling to get the left hand to join it. That time he managed to just get a little bit of traction out that top hole with right hand, just enough to pull a little bit to let the left hand catch up.
So Sergei Tapishko now alone on the stage. We are seeing a lot of tops here. Not at all the round that we or the route setters or any of the athletes in the crowd I think we're expecting. We're 10 seconds ahead of the official clock, as you can see there, our clock on screen. So just add 10. 6 climbers that we want through to the final this evening. And you can see the provisional top 6 as it stands. Here goes Sergei Tapishko. And we were on the mat. And we were saying there might be a few heartbreak hotel moments on that move, and we saw one there.
Yeah, jumping up to the right-hand side. This is the move before. This boulder's actually kind of got 2 moves that are quite similar to each other. Moving out right with a sideways kick of the foot. Hits the top hole absolutely fine, but his right foot actually slipped on that attempt.
Here you can see Jakub Schubert's 3 tops and 4 zones. He will just have to wait and watch and see if it is enough. Nimrod Marcus is climbing again. Manuel Cornu is climbing again. Billy Rydell is climbing again. He's on number 4. And Gabriele Moroni, our winner from Hachiyoji earlier on this year. In the 14th year of his IFSC career, he took a World Cup win, is out onto number 1. Manuel Cornu going pretty well on number 2. There he is.
Oh, Manuel Cornu so close to a flash there on men's number 2.
Would have been his second flash on 2 boulders, flashed the first one.
Have a look, good close up of the hands. It was just the left hand that fell off the left hand end of that hold. You said it earlier, Charlie, about hitting the sweet spot with both hands. Not quite there for Manuel.
If you could creep up to it, that wouldn't be a bad hold. It's the fact you've got to latch it when you're coming at it with speed that makes it so difficult. Here is Gabri. True all-rounder, indoor, outdoor, lead, boulder.
A real sensei of climbing technique as well, so I would have thought he'd have a good go on this men's number 1.
Nimrod Marcus with his top on number 1. Only could find the zone on number 2. Manuel Cornu's just had a pretty painful looking attempt at number 2. Kind of jabbed his shoulder quite awkwardly. Didn't seem to have done any damage.
Slight technical issue with blood from Nimrod there down on men's number 3. He's been told by the judge, you can just about see the judge in the grey t-shirt, asking him to tape it up as Billy Rydell tries to mount up. So this is the way that we saw the first athlete, Florian Klinger, doing this, not the way that Jakob Schubert did it. So it's clearly 2 methods here. Billy Rydell's looking good for a top here, but the timing move to finish here is crucial. You might feel like it's over and you could just push out, but that top right-hand volume is so bad. You've got to double to this finish hold. Does double, just misses the flick on the right hand.
Instantly wants the brusher.
Top for Gabri Moroni just off screen. We'll see that in a second. Top's coming thick and fast. Cameras can't look at all of them at the same time.
Yeah, this is a replay of Gabri.
See the way he just twists the right foot there to open up a bit of space to bring the left foot through. That's the way with the same foot sequence we saw with Nimrod Marcus, bringing the left foot through, heel first.
And again, it's the left hand, a split second before the right. It's the calmest top we've seen. Manuel Cornu now is lining it up on number 2. Manuel Cornu is topping number 2. This was Gabriele Moroni. We'll see Manuel Cornu in just a second. As Mike said, the top's coming thick and fast. This was Manu. Awkward move there, the way he jabs out that left hand.
Yeah, fierce double press. So much force going through the shoulders at that stage. See, there is 2 methods on that move as well.
Not lacking in commitment in his climbing, old Manuel Cornu. Firmly in the he won't die wondering category of climber. 100% commitment. Every time he's in the final, the comments on social media, regardless of his position, tend to be all about Manuel Cornu. He puts on a fantastic show. So here's Nimrod. He got off to a dream start on number 1, but failure to get number 2 done might cost him. Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty desperate. He's going for the double rapid tape, 1 across and a few wraps around. The judges have got their work cut out to try and tape that lot up, but he seems to be bleeding significantly out the fingers there. They might have to call him off of that boulder. I think he just can't carry on with that much tape.
Oh, that's so frustrating for Nimrod. Just so you know, our clock on screen, by the way, is now pretty much synced with the one in the venue. Not sure what the problem was earlier on. Frustrating there for Nimrod Marcus, really frustrating.
See a little bit of blood on the wall there. One of the judges just getting in there, brushing that off with a bit of chalk. As Billy Rydell now pushes towards the top again. Fierce left shoulder move there. Great flexibility on his right foot, and it's all about this next move. What options has he got this time? Shuddering under the force through the shoulders. Lining it up. So close to holding it that time. Does end the competition for Billy Rydell. Won't be seeing him in finals, unfortunately, but a great all-round performance nonetheless. Just missed the catch on the right hand.
Gregor Vezonik now, the 10th climber out. After him, we are halfway through on Boulder 1. Gregor Vezonik, winner of the World Cup in Munich earlier this year. We had 7 IFSC Boulder World Cups this year and 7 different male winners. Gregor Vezonik, the latest to win. What an amazing moment that was.
Yeah. I mean, for all of the guys who won this year, it's been so many emotional moments throughout the IFSC this year. It's been absolutely brilliant to watch.
Yeah, I don't know what happened this year, but we just got so many first-time winners, so many amazing moments of dreams coming true for people who became World Cup winners. It was a pretty extraordinary season in the men's bouldering. Ditto in the women's. 5 ranking points in it as we went to the final World Cup for the overall title on the women's side of things. Keita Watabe now looking to be going pretty well on number 2, top number 1.
Looks like he's for a temporary second there, he's just using a different method. Doesn't look too comfortable about using that higher foot before there might be an option. Does come up short. Heavy strapping on his left shoulder as well. Just tried to go off the big blue volume at the bottom. Gregor Vezonik, interestingly, really struggling with the first move on men's number 1.
All 4 climbers currently down on the mats.
Just thinking back to when he won his World Cup, that I think it was men's number 1 there, he was the only climber to do it. And that was a slab, really weird stand-up move on some volume, so you would have thought he'd be quite comfortable with this.
During the qualifiers for this competition on Thursday, no, earlier on, I long since lost track of what day it was here in Innsbruck. Chatting to Gregor Vezonik, and I said, what's been different this year? And I'm assuming just a second top for him, he does get it done on number 1. Yeah, I said to him, what's been different this year? Because previously he was a guy who sometimes made semis, he'd never made a final before this year, sometimes didn't make the semis, he was mid-table, I would say, Gregor. And then suddenly this year, 3 IFSC World Cup medals, one of them gold. Keita Watabe just top number 2, by the way. And he said to me, there's no such thing as an overnight success. It's been coming.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything radically different. It's just a compilation of year after year of training and getting smarter, working harder, being more efficient. And eventually it just begins to pay off, and it did this year. Keita Watabe, that was a replay of him topping number 2. Jan Hoyer is on number 3, and he could do with finding a top, because as it is, he's got 1 top and 2 zones off the first 2 boulders. Jan Hoyer's going up with the right hand, he's going up with the left. That's 2 tops and 3 zones for the first 3 boulders from Jan. That was Keita. We'll see Jan in a second. Pity the poor director trying to keep up with this. Here was Jan.
Looks so strong on this top move. We just watched it live a second ago. Not even a slight hesitation on the left hand. Just had it vice grip on the right. No issues whatsoever. It's very similar to the way Jakob did it.
Yeah, as with Jakob, he had the impression the volume was going to break before his grip did. And, Jan Hoyer. I wonder if slightly frustrated still at what happened on number 1.
Yeah, number of attempts on number 2 as well. I think he's probably got an idea that this is going to be a potential bit of a flash fest here.
Yeah, Jan, the best Jan could hope for, if he flashed number 4, he'd end up with 3 tops, 4 zones, and it would have required him 7 attempts and 8 attempts respectively. Could be tight.
Interesting method here from Sergej Tepishko, going straight up to the zone hold, missing out the hands on the red hold. This is the way Jakob did it then, working his way up this volume and then pushing it out to the right hand up to this next one. Doesn't quite find the right body position though. Thinking outside the box here a little bit. Backstage with Jan, obviously pretty warm back there.
Sergej Tepishko again finds himself alone on the stage. He's got 20 seconds left.
Interesting method there, just jumping straight out to the zone hold. He looks tired, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a frustrating day for Sergej Tepishko. He's going to end up with 1 top and 3 zones. Won't be enough for the final, although he is currently sitting in provisional 6th place. he's going to get caught and passed by at least one climber as his semi-final progresses. The second British climber of the day makes his way out onto the mats. Nathan Phillips. Gabriele Moroni is out. He's on number 2. Manuel Cornu's on number 3. And Nimrod Marcus is on number 4. The big question, of course, for Nimrod is, has his skin held out? So we're into the second half of the starters now. Nathan, the 11th out of 20 climbers.
Nathan Phillips in the second half of this season has really been bossing the qualifiers. Not yet converted that into a really good semi-finals result. Hopefully today will be the day just crimps down on the right-hand side of that volume as Nails behind the volume. Nathan traditionally an absolute expert on the volumes. 2018 British champion as well. Just as we concentrate on Nathan, Gabriele Moroni's high up on men's number 2. Doesn't quite stick the final hold. Nathan on his flash attempt up to the zone.
Nathan Phillips lining it up with 3 minutes and 32 left on the clock. Very smooth on number 1. I think not entirely sure if both holds counted as the top. You could see match the left-hand one just in case.
Yeah, that's clever from Nathan, just being sure.
And looking over his shoulder and checking with the judges.
Very smoothly up to the finish line. That was one of the most smoothest descents. The replay of Gabri's attempt.
Gabri's still out there.
Here he is live. Might have been replay actually, excuse me. He's exactly in the same position live as he was on the replay. Sticks it the next time, gets it done. This is a successful attempt. The method quite familiar now. Athletes seem to be having quite a lot of success on that move, where they actually pull quite hard on the right-hand hold, lower down before launching up. So a number of athletes take that hand off because it feels a bit strange. They just can't quite get the position, but perfect example there from Gabri. Using the right hand to his advantage, pulling on it quite hard.
Minutes 15 left now. Manuel Cornu and Nimrod Marcus, the 2 climbers left out on the mats. Was a flash for Nathan Phillips, and for Gabri that was his 3rd attempt on the boulder.
4 minutes.
Nimrod could really do with finding something here on number 4. Unlikely to be enough for a place in the finals, almost certainly not enough actually. Be 2 tops and 3 zones if he can find a top here. It'd be nice to finish his semi-final in style, especially after the problems he had on number 3, and he's close there.
Yeah, we've not seen a successful latch for that top hold. Only Florian Klinger using that method so far. Billy Ryder was in a very similar position. I think it was 3 times that he had to go at that move. So close to sticking the top.
1 minute 20 left. Manuel Cornu brushing the holds again. Still not found a top on number 3. Got the first 2 done. So look at the scores. I suspect 3 tops, 4 zones, somewhere in that region may well be enough. So Manu, my reading of it so far is that you probably need something off pretty much every boulder.
Yep.
And he doesn't yet have a zone on the board here on this boulder, Manu.
Yeah, pressure's mounting here on Manu. Needs this.
Completely changes the dynamic when you know you basically need something on every boulder, ideally a top, but at least a zone. And another spectacular fall, and he slightly winded himself.
Nice surprise, very close to landing on his head there. I think it was the left hand that ripped, at the same time as the right foot blew off.
He's pushing it pretty tight with time, Manu. And he's not going to get it done. mats.
Such a hard fall.
Yeah, the mats are reasonably soft, but even so, when you land in that position, it's not the most comfortable.
Did well there to spin it round in the air and land on his back rather than square on his head.
I got to say, it's very early on, but sadly for many of the neutrals watching who knows what a show Manuel Cornu puts on, the best he can hope for now is 3 tops, 3 zones, and that is unlikely to be enough, you would imagine. So Jan Hoyer now on to number 4. Nobody yet has claimed 4 tops, of course. We're only speculating. Here's Kokora Fuji.
I think with this set of boulders, there's a really good balance between all of the styles. Slabs on the right, lots of power in the middle, bit of jumping as well in there. To get 4 tops, it really would be a display of the all-round talent, I think.
Kokora Fuji, of course, a route setter himself back in the B-Pump gyms in Tokyo. Top for Jan Hoyer on number 4, top for Gregor Vazonik on number 2. We're sticking with Kokoro for now. We will bring you replays of those tops.
Jan Hoyer, hopefully we get to see that again. He's absolutely path to finish boulder number 4. He's actually looking up to see whichever way he could have done it as well. He absolutely cruised it.
Top as well
cruised
for
it as well.
Okay, so Keita, with 3:45 left of the rotation, is alone on the stage. We're just waiting for Jan's score to come through. This was Kokoro topping out. Jan moves into first place, 3 tops, 4 zones, requiring 7 and 8 attempts respectively.
This is Gregor Vazonik on men's number 2. Just switches the right hand before jumping up. It did take him a couple of goes, I think.
That's 2 tops, 2 boulders for him.
This is, this might be Jan Hoyer, but we're back with Gregor again.
2 tops on the first 2 boulders for Gregor Vazonik. He's already having a season of a lifetime. He couldn't do it here in Innsbruck, could he?
Let's have a look at Jan Hoyer on men's number 4 then. Look how easily he tops this. This is the same method of Jakob Schubert, pressing out on the left hand, completely missing the penultimate red volume, pushing towards the finish hold, absolute piece of cake, looks around thinking, what's that all about? Have I done enough? Time will tell. At this moment here, he actually looks back up and thinks, that doesn't seem right.
Might go for another lap. Flash for Jan Hoyer.
Slightly different angle. Fortunately for Jan, it's the slab. He actually looks around to the crowd whilst he's only got one hand on the finish hold. It's been temporary first position.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the scores right now. 3 tops, 4 zones for Jan Hoyer and Jakob Schubert. Florian Klingler, excuse me, is currently in 3rd place with 2 tops and 4 zones. Given the calibre of climbers still to come and how toppable all these boulders look, I wouldn't suspect that's enough to get you a place in the finals.
I think Jakob Schubert, Jan Hoyer backstage, really interesting to hear from them, because I reckon they're going to be a bit disappointed with this set of boulders. They feel like there's only one mistake really on one of the boulders. It was the slab for both of them. It means they're not going to get their place in the finals. I reckon that these boulders are all going to get multiple tops.
Yeah, they're living dangerously, Jan and Jakob. Hour gone in this semi-final and we're seeing an awful lot of tops. That's not been a theme of the bouldering in Innsbruck 2018 World Championships, but it is today in the men's semi-final. Charlie Bosco and Mike Langley here live from the Olympia World. Hashtag IFSC WCH if you want to get in touch on Twitter. We're watching Keita Watabe. He's the only climber left out on the stage. Gregor Vazonik, Jan Hoyer, and Kokora Fuji, excuse me, that had been alongside him. Keita, he topped the first 2 boulders, so put himself in a very strong position if he can at least get his own, which he has. Keita Watabe with 20 seconds to go, lining it up on number 3. 3 boulders, top for Cater.
That was good. He had to work really hard for that. All the way down to the final 10 seconds.
I think that was a shout of relief as much as anything. It looked like he wasn't going to get that boulder done.
It's quite cool when the climbers have to work really hard to find a top. Nobody wants to see everybody just pathing their way along all of the boulders.
5th attempt on that boulder, and given how brutally physical it is, that is so impressive from Keita Watabe. So he has the opportunity to become our first climber with 4 tops.
Manu Cornu out on number 3, and Adam Ondra out on number 1. Ondra did so well to get through the qualification group, came out so late in qualifiers. Rumours were it was 30+ degrees on the wall when he was out there qualifying. Sun on the wall. Got through it though, such as his tenacity.
Yeah, it was a warm day. I've seen a few reports from people that weren't there about how hot it was, and it's a bit like the fish you caught getting bigger with every time you tell the story. It was a hot day. The conditions weren't quite as bad as you might have seen reported, but certainly Adam was at a disadvantage compared to the higher ranked climbers. But he did the job. He actually did it with a boulder to spare.
The replay of Nathan Phillips heading to the top hold. This was his flash go cruise through the bottom section. See him really pulling on that right hand we talked about earlier. Not seen anybody successfully hold that with one hand yet. Maroney there on men's number 3, just about to release the toe hook and jump out.
Adam Ondra now pulling onto the slab again. The only man to have won bouldering and lead titles at the World Championships.
Having a bit of an epic with his starting foothold actually. Manu Cornu who's pushing it out. With this, we call this the first method. Swords top on this boulder successfully this way first.
I don't think it's going to be enough for Manu Cornu. Even if he tops out this boulder, that failure on number 3, I think he's going to come back to haunt him. Have another look.
His weight was a bit too far left here. Not in the right position, couldn't get the hand around that volume at all. Another replay of Nathan. Disco double, that time was so close to controlling it. He knows he can do it though, a little smile on his face.
Again, this is a replay. Nathan's actually on the mats right now.
How close that was. The fact the body was moving so fast, the hands just shaking a little bit on the finish hold.
Cameraman will be happy with that one. Perfect timing. Adam Ondra, 1:54 left on the clock. Nothing for him as yet on boulder 1.
Just a note of interest here, Nathan Phillips, Kevin Lemoney and Manu Cornu all have towels to clean their shoes. Adam Ondra is really struggling with the texture on this, or texture or something to do with his foot on the right hand side there. He doesn't have a towel or anything and he's getting massively frustrated with that. He keeps brushing it, but if he got chalk build up, he just tries to rub it off with his hands there. It might be a bit of a mistake here from Ondra not bringing anything to clean his shoes.
Yeah, the problem is if you rub it off your shoes with your hands, it's then on your hands, which is not much better. So after the previous rotation where it was just top, we've got all 4 climbers still attempting it. Nathan Phillips breaks the deadlock on this 5-minute rotation, finds a top on number 2. So he's topped the first 2 boulders. Nathan never had a top 10 finish in senior IFSC competition, despite a few strong qualifying performances and some semi-final appearances, as Mike mentioned. And it's off to a good start here in the semi-finals.
All remaining 3 climbers were on the wall very briefly. Adam Ondra's in a bit of a meltdown here on men's number 1 as Manu Cornu's in a much better position this time. Tries the second method, goes up with straight with the right hand. He's going to find a top.
Top for Manuel Cornu. I suspect though when he gets backstage and really begins to analyse the results, he might be somewhat frustrated.
Seems when the climbers unlock that second sequence, they seem to find a top quite easily. Adam Ondra with 20 seconds left. Still struggling with his first volume. Every time he tries to stand up, just greases off the volume.
Adam Ondra's not going to do boulder 1.
So he has a really good look across there at the other boulders on his way off. Won't want to be backstage when Ondra comes down those stairs.
No, he's a pretty big unit, Adam Ondra, and he doesn't look a very happy big unit. So watch out if you're a plasterboard wall behind the climbing wall. Not a good start at all from him. 3 tops, I'm pretty sure won't get you into this final. I think you need 3 tops, 4 zones. If you can flash the remaining 3 boulders, or at least get them done in very short order, Adam might still stand a chance, but I think already he might have cost himself a place in the final. We shall see. Alexei Rubtsov now, the Moscow resident, owner of the Climb in Tokyo gym in Moscow. He's out, bit of strapping on his left ankle.
Let's see how Alexei gets on with this right foot. That's the right foot that Ondra just kept slipping off time and time again. It was after he brought his other foot across. It does slip as well. It's too early to say whether the conditions have deteriorated on that volume.
I'd have to say, just sitting up here, it doesn't feel like the temperature in the arena's changed. Of course, it's very different down the front when the big lights have been on for a long period. They are warm.
Yeah, I mean, inevitably
stage lights.
There is more dirt on the mat on the holds, but the brushes are in there at every single attempt. So I don't think it's really too much to do with that.
Top for Kokoro Fuji. 2 tops on the first 2 boulders for him. And the Manuel Cornus of this world, and possibly the Adam Ondras of this world, who have 3 tops, or the best hope of 3 tops.
Alexei's up on
a bit nervous now.
Sorry to interrupt, Charlie. Alexei's mounted up on the slab now. As we look at the replay, Kokoro, and does find the top. We will see that again on the replay.
Yeah, it's the top from Alexei. Top there for Kokoro. Gregor Vazonik and Keita Watabe currently engaged on 3 and 4 respectively. This was Alexei.
Very close to falling off there. Interesting first method. We've seen someone stepping all the way through on the outside edge of the left foot and firing over to the right side. Really risky method from Alexei there.
Alexei also clocking the fact that the tape is on the left-hand hold, and just you can see him top there, and then he thought, actually, I'm going to match this one on the left. So both holes do count as the finish, but Alexei switched on enough to match both on the left. Keita Watabe, handshake for the judge there. And he's got 4 tops, Keita Watabe. First climb with 4 tops. This is how he did it on the last one. Had such a battle on number 3. Left it late, but found a way. Gregor Vazonik, who's currently on number 3, could make it 3 tops on 3 boulders. He got the first 2 done. He's got 2 minutes 10 left on the clock, and this is Keita Watabe topping out. Lovely timing with the catch. Remember, you've got to match the top hold, and he does.
That's the original method, and really nicely done. Second person who successfully had that flip to the right-hand undercut to finish. Nice move. Really interesting when these boulders seemingly have multiple methods. The route sellers knew that there was multiple methods in the time of testing. Only they know. They are an extremely talented bunch, so no doubt they would have tried pretty much everything there is out there to try. Yes. Sometimes it's okay to have multiple methods.
Team led by Manu Hassler of Switzerland. Immensely strong climber in his own right.
Gregor Vazonik out there on his own at the moment.
This is live for Gregor. Needs to find the top. He's already got the zone.
That's good. Looking much better on this go. Has fallen off his position already once. Somehow uses the left hand to hold himself on.
3 tops on the first 3 boulders for Gregor Vazonik.
Absolutely electric semi-final round here in Innsbruck so far. Just watch this left hand, how hard he was pulling on that to make sure he didn't rotate off. Had to work so hard on that boulder. Look how much it means to him to find a top.
Yeah, it's amazing with Gregor Vazonik. As I said, he was always a kind of mid-table finisher, sometime semi-finalist. And the step up he's made this year should inspire every climber out there that if you just keep plugging away, you do what you know is right, you focus on your weaknesses, and you just keep trying to get better.
He was so close to falling off on that last move.
He was close to falling off.
I think he knew it as well.
Anyone got any questions over his motivation, having scaled the mountain in Munich, about whether he wants to do it again? I think they've just been answered with that reaction there. So Adam Ondra legs it back onto the stage. He wants to get on with this number 2. Mikael Marwem's now underway on number 1.
Yeah, the best Ondra can do at the moment. I don't think stayed as it was. It's 4th, I think.
Yeah, he could move up to 4th, but that would be his best hope, and it would be a provisional 4th. I have to say, I don't think Adam Ondra's going to make the final here.
Could have come down to the slab, but he didn't find the zone at all.
Here is Mikael Marwem, a man who knows how to put on a show as well.
You can see down there, got the towel to keep the feet clean. These vinyl covered mats, a lot of mats around the world have carpet on. You don't get so many issues with the dirt on the feet, but these competition walls sometimes don't have the carpets on. Moroni's just found a top as well.
Yeah, number 4, very low key from Gabriele Moroni. 3 tops for him. I don't think, again, that's going to be enough for the final. We've still got 5 climbers who haven't even started their rotation, and Gabriele Moroni's currently in 4th. As you said, Mike, Adam Ondra could get himself up into 4th potentially, but I'd be surprised if he makes the final from here on out. Mikael Marwem, still not quite sure how he stuck that move. Right hand popped off. You'd have thought any sudden movement like that on a delicate slab would spit you off. He brings the right foot up now, lines up the top holds and latches it, and again matches the left hand one. There is a bit of confusion for the climbers for those that top hold. And Adam Ondra's going well on number 2, but not yet topping it. Got the zone. Let's have a look at Mikael Marwem topping out. Nathan Phillips is on number 3. Adam Ondra tops number 2. That was Mikael on number 1. And I think Adam is well aware of his predicament. It was a very muted celebration from him. This was Gabriele Moroni on number 4.
Yeah, it's a really tricky one for Ondra as well, because he can, as he walks off, have a look at the screen and see what the results are. He's going to see that 3 top 4 zones. He's currently sort of middle of the pack for finals, and he knows he can't achieve that. Look at number Gabriele Moroni. He's the second method up to the right hand undercut. Absolutely cruised. It does seem when the athletes do find that method, they find the top quite easily without too much fuss.
Flash that was, yeah, for Gabriele Moroni. I just looked over as he did the last move from our commentary position, from where I have to say we've got a fantastic view of the wall, and he absolutely bossed it. Just cruised up those final few moves. This was an already visibly frustrated Adam Ondra on number 2. And you can see there, I think he knows he's put himself in a bit of a sticky situation with that fairly defined a top zone, let alone a top on number 1. Nathan Phillips now is alone on the stage. He's got 1 minute 45 left on the clock, and he's just asked the brushes to come on and do their thing. Hashtag IFSC WCH on Twitter if you want to get in touch. Charlie Bosco and Mike Langley here, live from the Olympia World in a bouldering semi-final that feels out of keeping with what we've seen so far in Innsbruck, where it's been immensely hard boulders and very few tops. Complete change today.
Yeah, this is massively exciting and really on the edge of your seat stuff. Any slight mistake could put you out of finals quite quickly in this round so far. Nathan's definitely in the running here. Does need to find a top. We've just seen Kater try really hard to find a top on this one, and Gregor Vazonik. I think boulder number 3 is going to be the one that kind of is the separator for this field if you do the slab.
Nathan back on now, less than a minute to go. He'd be in such a strong position if he could top this boulder, you know. He'd be on 3 tops with the boulder still to come.
Just to go for the hands crossed method here. Haven't seen that so much. Quick dab of the shorts and crimping a screw hole on the right hand side to get himself across. Does get across. He has been in this position before though. Good tactics from Nathan using the screw hole positions, but it's all about this last move, really. Oh, he absolutely cruised it that time. Amazing from Nathan Phillips. Nathan's on a flyer here.
He is. That's 3 tops for him.
Can he keep it together on the 4th boulder now?
As I say, never had a top 10 finish in an IFSC senior competition. Just needs to dial it down. Didn't win himself much extra rest there by finishing the boulder so late, but he'll still have 5 minutes backstage. Yoshiyuki Ogata now, the latest climber to try his luck on number 1.
You can see Nathan just moved up into 5th position. 3 tops, 3 zones at the moment. So the next rotation just gets underway.
Yeah, ominously for Adam Ondra, Manuel Cornu, who's got 3 tops, 3 zones, is already out of the provisional top 6. And Keita Watabe's got 4 tops, but Gregor Vazonik and Nathan Phillips have both topped all of the first 3 boulders. Gregor Vazonik is now on number 4. He could join Keita in the 4 tops club. If he can do the boulder quickly, he'll actually move into 1st place ahead of Keita on attempts.
And I think Gregor Vazonik's been very clever here as well. He's taking a long time to analyse the boulder before pulling on. It's slightly confusing, the different methods. We have seen 2 successful methods on this one. Gregor knows that a top here is going to be really crucial, so it's taken nearly a minute just to analyse the moves. Looks like he's going to go up to the traditional first method for his first go. It's going to require the double flip to finish.
He's looking pretty good so far, Gregor. He's got the right hand now. Can he get the timing and the accuracy right on this final move? Gregor Vazonik, 4 boulders, 4 tops for him.
Fireworks here in Innsbruck. Gregor Vazonik took over a minute to analyse it, and when he pulled on, it was not in doubt. Look at the focus on this last hold. Quickly checks where his right hand needs to drop to, replaces the left hand for the right hand, hits the finish hold, and at that point it was never in doubt. Awesome semi-finals here so far. But it is coming down to attempts. This is where the climbers get really nervous because flashes are going to become so important.
Gregor flashed 2 of them. Well, whatever he has on his serial, I need to get some because Gregor Vazonik is just crushing it in 2018. You can see there Yoshiyuki Ogata, the 16th climber out. That just leaves Kai Harada, Jongwon Chon, Tomoa Narasaki and Yernei Kruder still to come. It feels like we've seen so many big names and so many tops that it's hard to believe we've still got 4 climbers quite that strong still to come. Kokoro Fuji now on number 3, no problem for him. The Tokyo resident, as I said, a route setter himself in B-Pump. We went to B-Pump Ogikubu last year when we were in Tokyo. What a facility that is. Not the biggest gym in the world, but the quality is staggering, and all that training paying off for Kokoro Fuji. You also get a pretty banging bowl of ramen noodles just around the corner as well.
I think 4 tops is going to be what it's going to take here, Charlie.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually, Mike. Jan Hoyer and Jakob Schubert with 3 tops, 4 zones are getting bumped down the order, and I can only see that continuing. Alexei Rubtsov now looking to make it 2 tops and 2 boulders, and does so, and I agree. I think you're going to need 4 tops. We've kept revising our predictions. When we were down on the maps, we were saying, oh, 3 tops should get you in. I think you're absolutely right. As this semi-finals progressed, we've just been revising our estimates over and over again. And I think you're right. I think you'll need 4.
Traditionally in the past, certain athletes such as Jakob Schubert have been quite outspoken when they feel like the boulders aren't that hard. They want hard boulders. I think here it's an interesting mix because they are getting done. People are doing 4 boulders, but they're having to work pretty hard at them, I have to say. It's not as if they're just cruising them.
No, it's not. They're not boulders where the stronger climbers are just walking out and doing them first time. I agree. People are burning up attempts, and that's probably our best hope of avoiding a big tie actually going into the final. So Yoshiyuki, 50 seconds left. He's the only climber left out on the stage in Innsbruck.
So much is shaking there. Kai Harada not found his comfort, not finding it too comfortable on the slab there.
Yoshiyuki Ogata just struggling a little to make his way over to the right. And 15 seconds to go, decides against another attempt. And it seems strange to say it after one boulder, but I think that could be it for him, regardless of what he does, because of how many tops you're needing to get into the final. Could someone get 4 tops and not make it into the final? I think it's certainly possible. Mikhail Marwem now comes out again onto number 2, Adam Ondra on number 3, Nathan Phillips on number 4, and Kai Harada gets his World Championships semi-final underway on number 1. So Nathan Phillips could join the 4 top club if he can find a way on the boulder 4. He's looking pretty good on attempts, actually. I think he could move up into first place if he got it done on his first go. I've not been watching him, actually. I don't know if he's already had a go. I don't think he has.
Not pulled on yet, no. Again, like Gregor, taking a long time to analyse it. He knows that this is a bit of a flash fest, this competition.
That was really clever, you know, from Gregor Vazonik. You're absolutely right, Mike. Well, I was watching him when he came out on the mat, and he didn't do anything for the first 30 seconds apart from stand there and look at the boulder.
Looks like Nathan Phillips is having a look at this second option at the moment, palming out on the left-hand side. If he can get this to work, just to say that it does come off, it looks a little bit low there. If he can get it to work, he could be putting himself in a really great position here.
It seems that method makes the penultimate move harder, but the last move a bit easier, so it's yin and yang.
Yeah, I agree. I think the route setters know that as well, so they left it in as an option.
Adam Ondra there on number 3, 2014 Boulder World Champion. Not going to retain his title here. Now he's not going to make the final, Adam Ondra. I'm looking at the scores again. It would basically take 7 or 8 of the strongest boulders in the world to have a complete nightmare on the set of boulders that look very toppable, and that is just not going to happen. Mikhail Marwem now topping number 2, that's live. So 3 minutes extra rest for him, top in the bag.
We said it earlier, some of the bigger climbers won't be using that small screw on. He just jumps straight off the big volley at the bottom, goes with force, hits it nicely. Nathan Phillips is pushing into the top section at the moment. Currently got his hands in a bit of a pickle up there at the moment, but is working really hard, is making it work for him. Hopefully we'll be able to cut to that soon. Does just fall off, unfortunately.
Kai Harada's going well on number 1. That is Mikhail Marwem top in number 2. He is one of the fastest non-specialists in the speed climbing. He uses explosive power well. Kai Harada used all his technique and skill very well there on number 1. He finds the top as well. 2 minutes 20 left of the rotation. Adam Ondra's back on the mat. Ditto Nathan Phillips are the only 2 climbers left on the stage. And Adam Ondra is not going to be in the final this evening. Mathematically still possible, but in reality it's not going to happen.
This is 2 of the biggest minutes of Nathan Phillips' life right here as well. Everything that he's been training for comes down to this next 2 minutes. He is currently in 5th place, but he's going to be close to the dropout zone if he doesn't find a top here.
Yeah, interesting enough, right now Nathan is the lowest ranked of the 3 climbers who've got 3 tops, 4 zones, and it's so close right now. He'd be in 5th place if he can't find the top here, Nathan, and I don't think that'll be enough for him either. So Adam Ondra, closest to the camera, I think it's all done for him. Nathan Phillips very much still alive, but needs to find a top here.
See him just trying to cool down a little bit. Edge of your seat stuff for Team GB fans out there.
It's one of the fascinating things about climbing. The boulders looked hard. They've been hard all week. We thought we wouldn't see many tops, and we see a completely different spectacle to what we expected an hour and a half ago. ...43 seconds left. Nathan definitely likes the look of method number 2. Or does he?
Tripping a screw hole to go straight up there. That's a third method. No one's done that yet. Go straight from the yellow to the red. This is looking really promising here from Nathan. Just needs to match it and he'll be in the finals most likely. Gets it done. 4 tops for Nathan Phillips. The climb of his life here in Innsbruck.
Well, whether he makes the final or not, it's already going to be the best result of his career, but I think he's done enough to make the final.
How hard he crimped on the screw hole on the left-hand volume there. You can see him, he's just buried his fingertip into it. Nathan Phillips has worked so hard throughout this final, using different techniques that other people have failed to find.
I think just due to the number of tops, it feels like the semi-final should be concluding, but we've actually got our third to last climber. Jongwon Chon just started men's number 1. There's a lot of action still to come. Spare a thought at home for Nathan Phillips. He's got 4 tops, but he's the lowest ranked of the 3 climbers with 4 tops, and he has absolutely no guarantee that he's going to make it through to the final. Yeah. I don't think there'll be anyone in this arena more nervous than him.
12 attempts to get his 4 tops at the moment. It's a big number.
Mike, your prediction that we'll need 4 tops to the final looking increasingly correct here. Jan Hoyer and Jakob Schubert now move down to 5th and 6th. I don't think they've done enough. Kokoro Fuji, by claiming the zone on number 4, has moved ahead of them. And Kokoro Fuji, I think, is about to bring it home and find a top on number 4. He is.
Yeah, tops number 4 in the original method.
He goes into first place, Kokoro Fuji. Nathan Phillips moves down to 4th. Oh, it's going to be so tight, this semi-final. I mean, normally in a semi-final we can say one of the earlier climbers, if they have a really good round, you could say that'll probably be enough. But this semi-final, it still could be anyone's.
Yeah, Nathan Phillips, 4 attempts on boulders number 2 and 3. No top for John Tron on that method. This is Kokoro's top on men's number 4. Put him into a provisional first place. 4 tops in 7 attempts.
So Kokoro Fuji currently ranked first. I don't want to go down the road of doing all the maths for everyone, but looking at the score, I think I'm right in saying that nobody in the top 6 is yet guaranteed a place in the final.
Yeah, that's going to be due to the number of attempts. These bowlers do seem to be taking quite a number of goes on each of them. 7 attempts for 4 tops is the best by that man Kokoro. Alexei Rupsov, interestingly, still on the mats on men's number 3.
There's Alexei Yoshiyuki Ogata's on number 2, and Jongwon Chon is on number 1, the 2-time World Cup overall champion. Jongwon Chon, 2015, 2017, his successes. How many titles will this man win in the years to come? Yoshiyuki Ogata finds a top on number 2. Going for the 80s footballer perm. Whatever he's doing, it's working well. He's found the top, number 2. Alexei Rubtsov still nothing on number 3, and Jongwon Chon, no top for him as yet on number 1. So given how tight this semi-final is proving to be, Jongwon Chon has used quite a lot of attempts on this slab. Even that could be crucial.
Crucially, he has got the zone hold though. He came very close to sticking the top 2 holes on his previous attempt. Just needs to be really calm on his top move this time. So tenuous, that top move. It's hard to watch. Gets it done and keeps himself in the race.
Yeah, and that time the hands landing pretty much simultaneously. Most of the tops we've seen, it's just been the left a split second before the right. Again, a bit of confusion about the top. And slightly clumsy that to cause that kind of confusion. The route setters just need to make it really, really clear, to be honest, where the top is. But either way, Jongwon Chon finds the top. Alexei Rubtsov, I don't think, looking very hopeful on number 3.
Yeah, he's down in 11th at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is you have to top every boulder to make the final, and even that might not be enough if you take too many attempts. Jan Hoyer and Jakob Schubert, as it stands, would go through with 3 top small zones, but they're not going to by the time this semi-final concludes.
Lexi's managed to do that first move as a double catch, and he's frantically going at this because he knows what he needs to do. He's not happy, walks away, head in his hands, distraught. He knows that's probably not going to be enough.
It's not going to be enough. 6 climbers
on for another go, Charlie.
Now 6 climbers have already topped that boulder. I don't know if he's frustrated at the route setting or himself, but when he sees the scores, he'll know he's got no excuse because 6 climbers have already done it. Didn't even get a zone there, Alexei.
Yeah, he really struggled on the first move. He just couldn't stick to the initial slope with the right hand, ended up having to double into the undercut as well.
So Alexei Rubtsov is not going to make the final. Just to let you know, Adam Ondra didn't even get a zone. He's got 1 top on the first 3 boulders. Adam Ondra is out now on number 4.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, after the slab, he's basically just given up.
Yeah, Adam Ondra, what a disappointment for this World Championship. Been holed away, training so hard for this event for the last month. Kairada's just topped number 2.
Kairada just sorry to his, that was the first time we've seen stick it with 1 hand. It was a different hold for him up there. Hopefully we get to see that again.
Now then, Tomoe Narasaki, the reigning Boulder World Champion, of course. Kairada doing the climb a slow walk off the stage so he can study boulders 3 and 4. Took him longer to walk off the stage than it did to top the boulder. Here's Tomoe Narasaki on number 1. This is live, he's lining it up. Oh, he's off to a perfect start, Tomoe. Adam Ondra's going well on number 4. It matters not for the result. Adam Ondra tops number 4 and looks completely uninterested in the whole affair.
Maybe we'll get to see Adam Ondra's top on that because he actually managed to get a hands-off rest halfway up the boulder. This is Kai Harada. Watch the way he sticks his top hold with 1 hand and just floats around. So strong. It's the top end of this group actually making these boulders look pretty easy now. This is Adam Ondra's full climb then, that's what I was talking about. Let's show his class on this boulder, Ondra. Works his way really slowly and calculated through this bottom section. It's on this next bit.
Yeah, he
shows his route climbing style here. Check this move out. Nice.
I haven't looked at the latest rankings. I'm pretty sure Adam Ondra is going to compete in the combined final as well tomorrow. So it's unconfirmed for you, but almost certainly not the last we've seen of him here in Innsbruck. Remember, tomorrow we have got the Olympic format combined for men and women. The top 6 ranked climbers across all 3 disciplines from the action we've seen already in Innsbruck. So Adam's still got a pretty big carrot dangling in front of him tomorrow, but disappointment in the bouldering. It was over really when he couldn't do the slab. We thought a zone might have been enough on the slab. As it turns out, he needed a top. He didn't get anything at all. Mikael Marwem now topped the first 2 boulders.
Mikael Marwem struggling here.
Wie gesagt, die erste gelbe Ziffer zeigt die Anzahl der Tops. Die zweite gelbe Ziffer die Anzahl der Zonen. Die dritte Ziffer die Anzahl, die du gebraucht hast, um die Tops bzw. die Zone zu erreichen. Und da geht es um jeden Zug. Da geht es um jede Wertung. The first yellow letter is the number of tops you reach. The second yellow letter, the number of zone holes you pass.
So all of a sudden it goes quiet here in Innsbruck with so much action coming thick and fast all the way up to this point. Mikael Marwem is out there on his own and fighting for a place in tonight's final. Currently sitting in 5th position.
With the 4th place, 2017 in Tokyo, his best world progressor so far, Mikael.
Big smile on his face, Mikael Marwem. He's the only climber out on the stage. As I said, one of the fastest non-specialist speed climbers on the speed wall. And pretty big hope for France in the combined and maybe in the Olympics in a couple of years' time. 30 seconds to go. Crowd really enjoying this. I have to say, in the past half hour or so, it doesn't seem like we've seen that many big fights on the bowl. It's just been top. But Mikael Marwem having a good old scrap here on number 3. We saw Keita Watabe top it last minute, and that means Mikael Marwem is not going to make the finals. Shame for him, shame for the crowd.
Yeah, great show as always for Marwem. The crowd really enjoyed that, like you say, Charlie. A couple of big spills off this one. Big smile on his face all the time, so.
Yeah, I think he'll be through on the combined as well, by the way, so I think we'll see Mikael Marwem tomorrow. We'll talk more about the combined later on, but first things first, we need 6 men through to a bouldering final. Well, still living very, very dangerously are Jan Hoyer and Jakob Schubert. Still sure that's not going to be enough, 3 top 4 zones. For now, they're hanging on. There's one less person to worry about, is Alexei Rubtsov, because he couldn't find anything on number 3. The recently crowned Boulder World Cup overall champion, Jerne Kruder, has just started.
Start since the first climber, Florian Klinger. They weren't too happy with his start. It seems to be okay for Jerne.
Top for Jong Won Chon on number 2.
Flash go here, does fall off. Just needs to concentrate here, Jerne Kruder. It's such an interesting situation. With a lot of it coming down to the very first boulder. This is Chon's go on the finish hard, catches it with one hand as well, I think. Off the right foot. Just about sticks it with one hand. So much contact strength there. Not phased by that move at all. His body said a slightly different thing as he was catching the hold. Tried to look cool as a cucumber or celebrating, but yeah, actually tried to try quite hard there. Replay of Alexei.
Yeah, Alexei, no final for him. Won't get the shot to win a World Championship 9 years after he won his first.
Yeah, no celebration at all as he finished the 4th boulder.
Knows it's not enough, doesn't he, Alexei? Well aware. Now then, Jerne Kruder. A lot of people putting him forward as a favourite to win, and understandably so after the season he's had. Recently crowned Boulder World Cup overall champion, as I mentioned, but he needs to find the top here on number 1. He needs to find the top on every boulder, so he's got the job done on number 1. Let's confirm how many attempts that took him. Second attempt there for Jerne, so not a flash, but not exactly frivolous with his attempts either.
Yeah, the top is the crucial thing, as we know now. It's really nerve-wracking watching his climbers on the first boulder now since Adam Ondra came out. Came away empty-handed. It's a big moment in his boulder number 1. Yoshiyuki got it done on men's number 3. This was Yoshiyuki's attempt.
Jetzt auch Yoshiyuki Ogata.
1:10 remaining on the clock. No climbers on the mats. Time to leg it to the kitchen, get yourself a cup of tea, a few biscuits. Come back, hope your kettle boils fast because the action is coming thick and fast here.
Yeah, Charlie Bosco, Mike Langley live with you for the men's bouldering semi-final from the Olympia World in Innsbruck, and that's how it stands. Jan Hoyer and Jakob Schubert hanging on in there in 5th and 6th. I would still bet my mortgage on the fact they're not going to stay there, but for now they are. And you just look down the order, a lot of climbers who finished their rotation, including Adam Ondra there in 12th place. Not having a great day. We can quickly see the graphic of our wall here. 4.5 meters by 18 meters. Not especially steep by IFSC boulder competition standards. Plumb vertical on the bottom, and then 3 degrees off vertical slab there, 13 degrees, the bulk of the wall on the left hand side, 20 degrees, 35 the steepest section right at the bottom left, 2.15 meters protrusion. That was the word I was looking for earlier.
A protrusion.
A protrusion, yes.
Yeah, there is a job on the hands for this wall, really. It's not particularly steep. It's quite difficult to make really hard boulders. Maybe that's why we're seeing a number of boulders flashed here. This is Kai now on men's number 3, absolutely palmed men's number 2. He's got so much confidence. Just as you're saying that, it's Tomoa just strolled up men's number 2.
He wants that title back,
This is Tomoa here now. Opting to go off the left foot. Doubles no problem. Tomoa's barely warmed up so far. Holds the one arm, pull up on that just for a second, just to get a bit of blood flowing. Mikael Mauam looks like he's going to find a top potentially on men's number 4. Got to go for the double flip, the original method. Gets it down. I'm sure we'll see a replay of that just as we look back at Tomoa pumping his fist. The Tomoa pose. This is Mauam. Goes out on good form. Kai Harada will also find the top. We're going to have replay after replay here. 3 minutes 30 left on the clock. You've definitely got time to make tea this time.
Yeah, got time for a slow pour cappuccino on this rotation. It's how long does it take to pour a pint of Guinness? Apparently, if you do it perfectly, you've got time for a few of them as well. Yeah, it's top's coming thick and fast. 3:12 left on the clock still on this rotation. We're going to have a look at Mikael Mauam going again.
Yeah, good show from Mauam, really. He knows it wasn't going to be enough. Goes out with a top nonetheless. Yeah, just we were looking at the graphic of the wall there just before this rotation started. Some of the conversations we had with some of the route setters saying when they initially saw the wall, they thought, this is going to be interesting to make hard boulders.
Mike, I'm trying to do the maths on the fly as we watch Kai Harada, but I'm pretty sure that the top 2, Cora Fuji and Gregor Vasonic, are now nailed on for the final, because Yoshiyuki Ogata, although he is still to finish, did not get the job done on number 1.
Yeah, that's right.
And that means we've only got 4 people still to finish, and I'm just checking whether any of them have already put themselves out.
Kai Harada hasn't, John Wachon hasn't, Samoa hasn't, and Yerne hasn't, so
No,
right.
so I think certainly the top 2 are guaranteed to be in the final. Kokora Fuji and Gregor Vasonic. The math would get very complicated there, and when you could just wait half an hour to see how it pans out, we'll leave it there for now. But Kokora Fuji and Gregor Vasonic will be through. Keita Watabe, Nathan Phillips, Jan Hoyer and Jakob Schubert right now. The rest of the top 6. Yoshiyuki Ogata's not going to get there, couldn't get the job done on number 1. Let's go through them one by one, the climbers still to finish. I've just mentioned Yoshiyuki Ogata. Kai Harada currently has 3 tops and 3 boulders, so he could end up with 4 tops. Jong Won Chon has 2 tops on 2 boulders. He could end up with 4 tops. Tomoa Narasaki has 2 tops on 2 boulders. He could also end up with 4. And Yerne Kruder has 1 top on 1 boulder, so he could also end up with 4. This is getting so tense. You can see the progress meter on the right-hand side of our scores there. Those circles divided into 4 quarters, so people with a complete circle have already finished their rotation. This was Florian Klingler much earlier on. It looked at the time like he'd had a very, very good
semi-final round, and he had with 2 tops and 4 zones, but as it's turned out, it's not even enough for a top half finish in the semi-final. This was Nimrod Marcus as well, stormed out onto number 1. Sergei Tapishko in action. He's not done enough, sadly. 18th for him, 1 top, 4 zones. Manuel Cornu finishes with 3 tops, and that's not enough for a place in the top 10.
Yeah, it's highly likely we could be in a situation here with 4 tops in a World Championship semi-final is not enough to get you through to the final. Does begin then. That's Nathan Phillips currently sitting in 4th position, due to go away with 4 tops. 3 climbers on the wall then. Jörne Kluder on the right hand side, John Wachon in the middle. Shiyuki on the left.
Mike, this has just been such a shift from what we've seen. I mean, the women's final last night, the boulders were desperate. I think we saw a total of 5 tops, was it, in the women's final? 5 or 6, it wasn't many, across 6 climbers on 4 boulders. And generally the setting's been very hard, particularly on the women's side throughout the whole competition. But this men's semi-final kind of come out of nowhere, really. I wonder what the route setters will do after it. Surely they're going to crank it up a bit ahead of the finals. Jörne Kluder, top for him on number 2. He's off to a flyer. Every mistake, every attempt that you don't manage it is going to be punished here.
Yoshiyuki, he was down in 13th, I think it was, just going into that, so he's not going to progress because he failed on the slab, I believe, just going by memory. Attempts to the 4 boulders, that's what it's coming down to. It's possibly the toughest situation for the climbers. Jörne going for the left-hand jump method. It's going to struggle in any way, shape, or form on that boulder. Probably did harder moves in the on the warm-up board.
It's a matter of taste. Some people like a final like we had last night with the women, where if you get a top, it can be enough to get you on the podium. And other people like this, where mistakes are punished so fiercely and you have to get everything right first time. Either way, over the last 24 hours here in Innsbruck, you will have had your taste catered for. They couldn't have been much more different, the women's final and the men's semi-final.
Yeah, like I say, the athletes tend to not like it too much if it's a bit of a flash fest due to the amount of pressure that it puts on them to make no mistakes. It does add, it's a different element completely.
I think it tests a different skill mentally as well as physically.
Yeah, you've got to be able to rise to the big occasion, make no mistakes.
But also, if you're a climber that likes to feel their way onto the boulder, I mean, I think, how many times have we seen Akio Noguchi try a boulder? Okay, I figured that out. Try it this way. Getting closer. That kind of skill set just wouldn't work in a semi-final like this. So it rewards a different type of climber.
I have to say the crowd has thoroughly enjoyed it though, because there's so many tops and so many celebrations.
Yeah,
the balance between the show and the result goes on.
Pity the poor route setters. Get criticised if it's too hard, they get criticised if it's too easy. Get criticised if a boulder gets done by everyone, criticised if it gets done by no one. It'd be a route setter.
Works quite hard on both boulders number 1 and 2. He might not admit it, but to me it looked like he had to dig a little bit deep, and he certainly had to dig deep here. 1 minute 40 or so seconds to go. Got to find a top. That's the crowd fired up, loves the occasion.
They can get live information from the stage as well, the climbers. If they just step back, they'll see the massive big screen right behind the wall. So Jongwon Chon will already be well aware of the situation, but he can get live feedback of what else everyone else is doing. And you're going to see climbers, as this semi-final concludes, just not trying until they're sure they know how to do it. Jongwon Chon was sure he knew how to do number 3, and he was right.
So that moves him up into 10th place, gunning for a spot in the final. Mike, Jan and Jakob are still in that top 6. They can't stay there surely, but I thought they'd be long gone from that provisional top 6. We've had Adam Ondra, Manuel Cornu, Alexei Rubtsov not managing to displace them. Surely they can't, one of them can't hang on. Surely Jan can't hang on, can he?
To be honest, I think he's probably already gone back to the hotel.
He probably has, yeah.
Never know though, stranger things have happened, mistakes can happen, pressure can get to people. This is the biggest competition of all time. Possible to make a mistake.
So we see there 4 tops for Kokoro Fuji, Gregor Vazonic, Keita Watabe and Nathan Phillips, Jan Hoyer and Jakob Schubert clinging on by their fingertips in the top 6, and odds very firmly against them, staying there. Some big names missing out, most notably Adam Ondra. He's going to finish 17th in the bouldering. So 2 Japanese climbers out now. Tomoe Narasaki won the World Championships in 2016, won the overall Boulder World Cup title in 2016, won the Moscow World Cup in 2018 after a bit of a barren 2017, and here he is looking for another World Championship title. Kai Harada here recently picked up a bronze medal in the Youth World Championship bouldering.
Yeah, Kai's brimming with confidence on the first 3 boulders.
Yeah, maybe a slightly frivolous attempt on number 4. You saw the experience of Gregor Vazonic come out and just look at that boulder before getting on it. Kai jumped straight on it, and it didn't make much progress.
Yeah, he's already got 8 attempts before he started that boulder, so if it does come down to attempts, be a little bit careful, Kai. This is Tomoe. Surely he'll eat this bit for breakfast. Check the mono there quickly. Does jump out, holds it with the one-hand swing. I'd say, easy or not, that is a particularly cool move.
Still requires a bit of grunt just to top this, get this final move done. No more jumping around now. You just need that grip strength with the right hand. No, I was about to say no problem from Tomoe. Couldn't get the hand swap. Kai Harada just needs to match on the top of number 4. Just began celebrating ever so slightly prematurely. This was Tomoe.
Yeah, he didn't look quite happy on that zone hold from the very moment he got it. He was over-calculating. I think Tomoe head might be spinning a little bit here. He knows the pressure's mounting. He is the world champion as it stands. Also, the fact that he's got to do 4 boulders might have got to him a little bit here, because he should eat that move for breakfast. This is Kai Harada's top. Someone who's definitely in cruise mode today.
So where does that leave Kai Harada? It moves him up into 3rd place. So Jakob Schubert finally has been carried out the great escape for the best part of an hour, is finally bumped out of the top 6 as we predicted he would be. I have to say, when he finished with 3 tops and 4 zones, I really thought that'd be enough for Jakob, but it's looked for the last half an hour, 40 minutes or so, as if it wouldn't be enough, and so it proves. Jan Hoyer now the final climber without 4 tops in the provisional top 6. Kai Harada moves in and is into the final.
Yeah, Nathan Phillips has got the weight of his life right now, because there's 3 climbers who can potentially knock him out still. Edge of your seat stuff here in Innsbruck in the semi-final.
Tomoe Narasaki alone on the stage, 2:20 on the clock. You can see him down 15th place, and yet he could end up in the final. What a semi-final this has been.
I think that's why Tomoe's getting slightly nervous. He knows where he is. He's seen the screen. Just got to get this done.
He flashed the first 2 boulders, so he's bought himself a little bit of breathing space in terms of the number of attempts he can burn up. He can afford to not get on with the boulder. He's got to top it, of course, but he can afford to burn through a couple of attempts just by having been so quick on the first 2. And he is certainly burning through the attempts here. Somehow needs to stay calm.
And every time he falls off, Nathan Phillips gets potentially 1 climber closer to making a World Championship final. Tomoe, going by other climbers' performances and his current form, surprisingly struggling on this boulder. They're really building up the tension here for him. It's potentially slightly unfair. The DJs have got sort of bell tolls, all sorts. It's all gone very, very quiet. Kung Fu Fighting being played now. It's an interesting choice. This time for Tomoe.
Oh, and he's not getting that move. You called it, Mike. There's something about that position on the zone he just doesn't like at all. Never quite looked convinced, as you say, when he got to the zone, and he never quite looked convinced about the top move either.
Atmosphere is so tense right now.
Oh, you could cut it with a knife.
Barely even want to talk as the arena is completely silent before Tomoa pulls back on.
Mike, just something to flag. Obviously, if Tomoa doesn't do this, he isn't in the final, but it would guarantee Keita Watabe his spot in the final.
Sticks the move this time. It's all about this last move. He's fallen off this move once already. Jumps to it with full power.
Tomoa Nagasaki is not going to retain his World Championship title. He can't get it done on number 3. Keita Watabe is into the final. Nathan Phillips, the poor guy, is now in 5th. But 2 climbers could well displace him, Jongwon Chon and Yerne Kruder.
Huge upset there, really, for Tomoa. All odds on favourite to do this move. This sort of move he loves doing. I think the occasion got to him because he just tried to pounce to them all. The move. He always moves with a lot of confidence and a lot of dynamic sort of speed, and he went too fast for that finish hold. Just had to go up to it slowly and we would have been in.
Nathan Phillips and Jan Hoyer will be watching this with their hearts in their mouths, particularly Nathan. I think for Jan, he knows that although one of the climbers might make a mistake, it's unlikely that both will, but we shall see. So Yerne and Jongwon still gunning for a place in the final. They have to top every boulder from here on out. For Jongwon Chon, that's just 1 more. For Yerne, he's got 2. Could be absolutely crucial on attempts. It is going to be so tight.
We've just seen it is possible to falter on these boulders. Pressure is immense here.
Jongwon Chon's already moved up to 7th just by getting that zone.
Jongwon Chon's definitely going to find the top here. Cruises to the top, he's in. Kruder falls off the zone now.
Top for Jongwon Chon.
It's the replay of Chon's successful attempt then.
Yeah, that moves Jongwon Chon up into 2nd place in the overall ranking, so he's actually going to come out in the top 3 of this semi-final, regardless of what Kruder can pull out of the bag. Nathan Phillips now down to 6th. Jan Hoyer, so long hovering above the trapdoor, falls through it, as for the last 45 minutes or so we anticipated he would. Yeah. So climbers still to finish their rotation. Tomoa Nagasaki, he's not going to make it into the final, and Yerne Kruder. That means Kokoro Fuji, Jongwon Chon, Gregor Vazonik, Kai Harada, Keita Watabe will climb in the final. The question is, will Nathan Phillips or Yerne Kruder be joining them?
Yerne Kruder has been in some very tense situations this year. He's had to do boulders to win World Cups. This time, right here, right now, he's got just 3 minutes, just under, to secure this boulder, potentially knock Nathan Phillips out and progress for a chance to get into the final on the 4th boulder. Stage is empty apart from him.
Like, I'm racking my brains to think when Yerne Kruder was under maximum pressure this year. I mean, in Munich, he actually sealed the overall title in the semi-final because Tomoa Nagasaki had a bad day there, as he has done here today. So Yerne never really had that moment where the World Cup overall title was on the line. It's something of an unknown as to how he's going to react to being in this situation. He's now on his own on the stage. He's got 2 minutes 15 left on the clock. He has to find a top. He then has to calm himself down and find a top on number 4 and not use many attempts. And Yerne struggling here on number 3.
You can see it on the faces in the crowd there. They know what he's got in front of him. He just didn't seem 100% happy with the left hand before he jumped out to the zone. Didn't hit the thumb catch on that zone hold at all. Tomoa and Yerne all of a sudden struggling on men's number 3.
Yeah, Tomoa was all at sea here. Mike, I think there'll be a lot of people at home who followed your instruction earlier on when we had a bit of a break to go and put the kettle on, who will now be sitting there with a lukewarm cup of tea because they haven't touched it, they've forgotten it's there. It is so tense.
Fingers are sweating in the commentary box here.
I've got people there WhatsApping me and sending me messages telling me how tense they are at home. I'm sure you guys at home feel exactly the same. Do not take your eyes off this one. Jerne Kruder is a minute and 15 seconds from not making it into the World Championship final in what has been the season to end all seasons for him. Nathan Phillips is now a minute and 5 seconds away from possibly being confirmed as a World Championship finalist. 1 minute to go now.
Pulls back on then, Jerne Kruder. Can he find a bit more comfortable position for the left hand? Crimps it really hard this time. Jumps, hits the thumb catch perfectly. It is all going to be about this next move though. Got to control the left hand very carefully. Kruder lines it up, hits it. Was it in doubt?
Jerne Kruder lives to fight another day. Massive explosion of emotion. There's a crazy Kruder crew. We saw them in Munich. His sister Julia, I don't know if we just caught a very brief glimpse of her in the crowd there, could barely look. She had her head in her hands with the tension. Where does that leave him? Okay, Mike, he's got 3 tops and they took him 6 attempts. So if he can top the final boulder in 6 attempts, he's going into the final. And poor Nathan Phillips, spare a thought for him. He topped all 4 boulders. He'd never been into a senior IFSC final. He's already going to have the best result of his life because he'd also never been in the top 10. But that will be scant consolation if he misses out on that final place. But Jerne Kruder lives to fight another day. I said we haven't seen him under direct pressure that often this season. That's how he reacts.
What
see him,
scenes.
whole body tensing. He wants to save the energy, to be honest. Just get backstage, get a bit of fluids on board and try and get your head into gear for what's to come.
Yeah, let's not forget, he's still got to do the 4th boulder.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible to think Jerne Kruder could be in the final. He might miss out on the top 10. He's currently 10th. Tomoa could move ahead of him. If Jerne just has a meltdown on this last boulder, he might not even be in the top 10.
Pressure there for Jerne was unreal though. Great show of character to get it done.
So Tomoa Narasaki, there's actually nothing riding on this. It's a top for pride only, and it is a top for Tomoa. Well, 5 minutes goes by very quickly, and Tomoa Narasaki on boulder 3. That 5 minutes just seemed to vaporise, and he just couldn't find a way.
Yeah, I think he's going to be checking in with a sports psychologist about boulder number 3, to be honest. If any form book was to go by, he would have done it. So find out, reanalyse what happened there.
Yeah, that final move looked made to measure for Tomoa Narasaki on number 3. This was him on the number 4. Didn't actually count for anything.
Imagine the attention in the arena in the next 3 minutes when Jerne Kruder comes out to fight for a place in the finals, to find the top.
Jerne Kruder must be sitting backstage now. I mean, he'd be glad of the rest physically, but a better part of him feels like saying to the judges, look, can I just get out there? Can we just get on with this? Because it's going to feel like a very long 3 minutes. I'm just looking across the arena. You can see the crazy Kruder crew in their pink T-shirts. Spare a thought also for them. And spare a thought for Nathan Phillips. This bouldering semi-final for the men has been the polar opposite of pretty much all the action we've seen in the bouldering so far in Innsbruck 2018. But arguably as tense as anything we've seen.
Yeah, that's what happens when the boulders are very doable. It becomes extremely tense all the way through, especially if you're the final climber out, Jerne Kruder all on your own. A lot of climbers secured a lot of very impressive tops and have ended up way down the list. Manu Kornu had an impressive top, 14th.
Yeah, 3 tops, 14th, Manu Kornu. Yoshiyuki Ogata's 15th, he had 3 tops as well.
That top on men's number 1 from Alexei was one of the best tops we've seen on that boulder.
Yeah, as it stands, you need 3 tops and 4s. I'm pretty sure 3 tops and 4 zones just to be in the top 10.
What I have liked about this men's number 3 is it's obviously very, very hard, and it's been the boulder for a lot of the athletes that mean they got through to the final or not, and they've had to work really hard to find a top on it.
Right, so one thing we do know is that half the final will be Japanese, Kai Harada, Keita Watabe and Kokoro Fuji. And another thing we know is that you need, everybody in the final will have got 4 tops in the semi-final. We might have that poor chap there, Nathan Phillips, missing out in 7th place despite getting 4 tops. This was Gregor Vezonik. As long as he lives, Gregor Vezonik's not going to forget 2018 season. There's Kokoro Fuji. Alexei Rubtsov now, he missed out, previous world champion. Kokoro Fuji, he's going to finish the final, pretty sure, in 1st place, just looking down at the math. Kruder could actually surpass him into 1st place, doesn't matter. All that matters for Kruder as he gets into that final.
Yeah, potentially you can go from 11th to 1st, is it?
Yeah, he could jump up 10 places on one boulder. Yeah, and he'd have to flash it to move up into 1st. Either way. This was Kai Harada, who's in the Youth World Championship bouldering final. He'll be in the senior one as well. Here's Adam Ondra. Bad day for him, 17th place. Mikhail Marwem, currently looking at a top 10 finish. He's probably going to miss out on that, depending on what Jerne can do. This is how Jerne got underway on number 1. Okay, 10 seconds to go now. Jerne Kruder, if he can top it in 6 attempts or less, is going into the final. A zone will get him nowhere. Top in 7 attempts will get him nowhere. There's the crazy Kruder crew. You can see his sister Yulia, 3rd from left in the back row there, not really cheering. She was so emotional in Munich when he clinched that overall title. Spare a thought for her now as she watches him gunning for a place in the World Championship. Didn't half put his crazy Kruder crew through it a bit on that boulder 3. A bit like Keita Watabe, who will be in the final. He left it till the last minute. So Jerne Kruder now, 4 minutes 25, like his compatriot Gregor, it's taken a long time to look at this boulder. He knows attempts will be crucial. They're not that crucial. He's got 6 to spare, but he'd like to get it done quickly. Save his supporters a tiny bit of nerve-shredding anxiety because they've already had a lot of it in this semi-final.
Just not got the left-hand position right there at the moment. Cruise through that bottom section. We're going to have to wait for another attempt to find our finalists.
Moves him up to 8th place, by the way, so that means Mikhail Marwan no longer gets a top 10 finish in the World Championship bouldering.
We saw that earlier, that technique from Manuel Cornu actually going all the way out to the left. That's what it means to the crew.
Only one of them looking disinterested and looks about 6 weeks old to me. Everyone old enough to have the vaguest idea of what's going on here is absolutely on the edge of their seat. So we're going to have a half Japanese final regardless of what happens here. We're going to have at least one Slovenian. We're going to have one Korean, Jongwon Chon. Are we going to have a Brit or a second Slovenian? That's what we're waiting to find out. 3 minutes 15 now. Jerne Kruder won his first ever World Cup in 2018 in Meiringen at the start of the season. Mike and I were there for that in Munich a month ago. He clinched the overall Boulder World Cup title. He pulls on again.
Looks like he's going to try the second method here, pushing it out on the left. He's recalculated. Try something different if he can make this next move work. Pretty sure he's going to be into the final here, Kruder.
Jerne Kruder's lining it up. Can he find a way? He finds the right hand. He doesn't find the left. Oh, look at Julia Kruder there.
Try to skip the top 2 holes and go straight to the finish. He's facing the wrong way.
Oh, the last thing he needs now is indecision about which of those methods he likes better. Is there another way to do it? Look at Julia there. He can barely look. He looks calm.
Surely he's going to go up to the right hand this time, use the undercut.
But the thing is, Mike, he's used 2 different methods, one of which we hadn't seen before, so there is another method possible. Will he try one of the methods you've already tried? Will he try the 3rd method? He's got decisions to make. It's not a case of horsepower, this boulder.
Yeah, he does still have attempts to those tops available to him.
Yeah, he's had 2 attempts, so he's got 4 more. I think actually the clock will run out before the attempts do. It's just so physical that I don't think he can take 4 attempts in less than 2 minutes.
One of those tense moments I've ever seen in competition climbing history here. Jerne Kruder, with just 1 minute 30 seconds to find a top, to find a place in the final.
Remember,
he has the opportunity to do something truly special. It's an incredible achievement to win a World Cup overall title. It's an incredible achievement to win a World Championship. To do both in the same year is truly special, and Jerne Kruder has the opportunity to do that if he can find a top on this boulder. Jerne Kruder now trying with the left hand, and tried to match and go up with the right hand.
Went back to his original method.
It's indecision here from Jerne. I think he's going to commit to that method.
He's pushing so hard over to the left that he can't quite find the left hand sort of undercut Gaston screw on. He can't get the right body position at all. He's tried 3 different ways now.
I've got a prime view of one of the most tense moments I've ever seen in competition climbing, so I wouldn't expect any sympathy, but I have to say I'm struggling to speak here and do my job as we watch this. You can't help but just sit here white-knuckled, palms sweating, and watch. Jakob Schubert's just made his way out onto the stage to watch. So's Florian Klingler. Jerne Kruder now. 25 seconds to go.
Still can't find it. This time he gets it.
Jerne Kruder, he's got his heel on. Can he find a way? 10 seconds to go for Jerne. He can't. He's not going to be in the final, and Nathan Phillips is. Jerne Kruder, after this season to end all seasons, falls just short on the last boulder of 2018.
Silence across the arena as Jerne Kruder fell off. A polite ripple of applause goes through the arena. Like Charlie said, one of the most tense moments of all time in competition climbing. Put his body on the line on the final boulder. Just couldn't find the right technique. So hard to watch.
Yeah, I think he's going to be in the combined tomorrow. As I said, we'll talk more about the combined later on. There's a combined Olympic-style format tomorrow. That says it all in the Kruder camp. Hopefully the cameraman can find Team GB, because in the midst of all that, don't forget that Nathan Phillips just made his way into his first IFSC senior final, and it's a World Championships. Jerne utterly dejected. I think we'll see him in the combined tomorrow, as I say, so he'll have a chance to take away a big title, but such is the triumph and tragedy of sport. He never looked solid here, did he, Mike?
He couldn't find the right method, Charlie.
He kept getting move after move, and you thought, oh, he's got the heel now, he might solidify, but then he swapped to a toe hook with the left foot, brought it back. I have to say, there was no stage there where I actually thought he was going to do the boulder. It always looked iffy.
That second attempt that he had when he went from mounting up on the left-hand red hold and went straight to the finish hold, if he had just leant out with the right hand, he could have easily topped this boulder. That's the game, and that's why we love it.
And that was a replay. And Nathan Phillips, somewhere in this arena, will just have got the best news he's ever had in his competition climbing career. I can just see Jan Hoyer down the front of the stage being consoled by his coach. He's one of the greatest climbers never to win a World Championships, and sadly for Jan, that wait goes on. He's got another chance next year in 2019 when the World Championships swap to odd years instead of even to accommodate the Olympics. We're going to have a World Championships next year again in Hachioji in Japan. Jan Hoyer will have another shot there. Jerne Kruder will have another shot there. And Jerne Kruder, you can see how disappointed he is, but he is a true sportsman. I wouldn't be at all surprised if the first person he sought out backstage was Nathan Phillips. You see there Kokoro Fuji, Jongwon Chong, Greg Ovazonic, Kai Harada, Keita Watabe, and Nathan Phillips, your top 6. Tomoa Narasaki, as it finished, ended up 7th. Jerne Kruder 8th, and Jan Hoyer and Jakob Schubert, he looked like they might just pull off the Great Escape, end up 9th and 10th. Bit lower down the order, Mikael Malwem narrowly missing out on a top 10 finish. 2009 world champion Alexei Rubtsov finishes 12th. Then we've got Gabriele Marini, Manuel Cornu, Yoshiyuki Ogata, Florian Klingler, Adam Ondra, Nimrod Marcus, Sergei Topishko, and Billy Rydell. Okay, Mike, thank you very much for your company. Guys at home, you've got just under 4 hours to get your heart rate back to normal. We'll see you at 7 p.m. for the final.
if it delivers half the drama of the semi-final, it is going to be something very special. We'll see you at 7 p.m.